Hello and welcome to another episode of 15 Minute Castle. Last time we made Mossbourne Keep down there on the plains to keep watch on any filthy bandits that might be approaching from that area. But this time around I have had an interesting question put to me, and that is, where would the residents of this settlement actually go in a time of siege? So the answer really is going to be a bit of an odd one for this series, which is that it's going to be an underground refuge of some sort, which means I'll have to burrow down inside the mountain itself to create a hidey hole for anyone living in the village that cares to take shelter during an actual siege, just to avoid, you know, heavy stony death coming down from above, that kind of thing. I was originally going to place the entrance site here, beside my tool shop, which is not quite complete yet, but that's over to the side and it's near the walls, so it's not ideal. So for a more centralised location I chose the main entrance site to be here, which is a bit back from the actual village as it stands at the moment, but the village will be expanding around this area as well, so it will wind up being somewhat centralised, and with an eventual plan of having an exit somewhere around the back of the castle, down in these mountain slopes, just to provide an additional way of retreat, or something like that. Though that is a tentative goal, since I'm not sure how much time it'll take to actually dig out and build this underground hidey hole. Oh, I think that about covers what I plan to do for this particular session, so I'll get back to you after I've built the underground hide. See you soon. And welcome back. During those 15 minutes I built this small structure up on the surface, which is admittedly quite small. It's not much to look at, but that's only because, as I said before, it actually goes underground to give a safe place and sanctuary for the people of the settlement to come into. I've decided to call this the Sanctuary because, well, it effectively is. And now it is time for the guided tour. This above surface structure is actually ornamental in nature. It's not very well defended, it's quite sturdy, it can take a few knocks, but assailants can actually approach it and get onto its ramparts from all sides really. So it just has these flags and braziers to act as a symbol of hope in the darkness for the villagers which will flock to it during a siege, and with 4 statues of the Almighty King just to prove that he watches over the people as they flee to safety. From here it goes straight underground at a very steep angle. As you can see, it goes down very deep below the rock of the mountain, just to provide extremely strong protection against any kind of projectiles coming from above. The entrance could be collapsed by an attack, but this place not so much. The passage continues downwards into this massive cavern, which admittedly was not here before, but it's my first real attempt at terraforming the landscape, and I think it's worked out quite well. The first structure that we come to, next to this beacon fire, is actually a barracks, which can be used for a small garrison force to help protect and hold this place, to ensure the safety of the people inside. It has bedding for 8 soldiers at once, but it has enough chests and storage for many times that number. Easily 30 soldiers could be in residence down here at any one time, and if need be they could be sharing the quarters for the villagers. I wasn't sure if I was going to say peasants or peons, but villagers is definitely the right thing to say. Down into this passage, because it's a natural cavern, I didn't want to completely obscure it with brick, so it's got some supporting structures to help hold the roof up, but for the most part it is actually open with the fortifications and residents just superimposed over the natural rock. The centrepiece of this entire place is this ringed statue of the king, just to remind the people while they shelter here that, as always, the king protects, and he will come and save you. Though below it there is also a little storage space down here, which I'm not really putting anything into. It could be a hiding place, or for storage or supplies that you really want to protect under the watchful eyes of the king. Moving on here to the left side of the cavern is supplies stored in the arches underneath the passage down, and then we go on to the main villagers' sleeping quarters, which is multi-storey and open topped, but that is because you don't really need roofs down here, to be honest. And that simplified construction, and I did actually run out of time slightly towards the end, so I couldn't really help it. But it has plenty of bedding available for as many villagers as care to come down here to actually get bed down, get to sleep, or they can come up and use these tables while looking out over the cavern. And as you can see, there was a slight bit of damage while I was building it, and again, not really had a chance to fix it. Up these stairs lead up to the back wall, which is another miniature fortification. This could be used as an archery standpoint for defenders, just firing at any attackers that might be wandering down this forward section here. But it also has bedding for some more villagers who might like to be up on the ramparts near the flames and near these watchers and supplies. So it's really more of a last-ditch defence kind of place. And finally on here to the right side of the cavern, there is the mess, supply storage, and, well, there isn't really much you can do for a kitchen at the moment because they don't have the furniture for it. So it's just general purpose supplies, a couple of tables where they can prepare food and things like that, a fire, and then all the villagers and guards can just come here and eat and hang out. But again, it's open, which might be a bit exposed if archers get down here, but really it's supposed to be held up towards this corner anyway, so that doesn't really matter too much, I don't think. And finally, for either smuggling goods or people in and out, or for a absolute last-ditch retreat, there is actually a way out at the back of the cavern. It's been slightly reinforced to make sure it doesn't collapse, but this passage has not been fortified, it's not been bricked in, it's really done nothing to draw attention to itself, and it leads out onto the mountainside behind the castle, which just flows over there, which is a potential route to escape. Again, I was actually not planning to put any kind of fortified entrance down here because it's supposed to be an incognito kind of thing, which is also why it opens up onto a very, very steep section of the hill. It's not supposed to be easily spotted or a way that attackers might come up. So yeah, that's giving you a good look around at the I've forgotten the name of it already. At the sanctuary. Yeah. And now it is time to bring it down for your amusement. So, of course, first thing to do is save, and then we'll get right on to causing as much damage as possible. Though sadly, I must admit, in this case there is not much I can do by way of demolition, because since it's underground, the rock walls are built into the actual structure of the sanctuary itself, and by their nature they mitigate a lot of the more spectacular collapses that could have been done with this arrangement. Just double check to make sure it's saved that. There we go. So, let us begin. Attackers have somehow got a catapult down here, and they've decided to just deploy their firepower on all of the troops in this area and all of the villagers, because they are the enemy. Who cares, right? First things first, guards. We don't want any guards, so let's try and knock them down. Small ones don't really do much, so let's do large cannonballs from the start. I'm just going to wreck the living quarters of the guards, knock it down, break it to pieces. Ooh, a flag of the enemy. I don't want that there, so that can go as well. Just generally causing some damage. Any guards that were caught sneaking in there, they are probably done for and buried under a bit of rubble. And there goes a bed down there, easily converted. Now, we want to get rid of their morale and their supplies, so the kitchens and dining area is an excellent second place just to knock it down. And let's switch to a heavier cannonball, just knock down that supporting strut up there to cause some additional damage. Ah, glorious. Those food supplies will not be helping anyone anytime soon. And we're also weakening the cavern a bit to boot by causing some damage. Yeah, I think the kitchen area is pretty much done in. And lastly, just to be complete, let's knock down this pillar here, because, well, we're wrecking everything, so why not switch back to a normal weight ball. Oh, that entire side of the cavern is blocked off, and as an attacker I might not know about the additional route there, but it's now been completely obscured by debris, so it can't get through there. Ooh, guards' possessions have survived somehow. Not anymore. Now, we don't want them moving around easy, so the next target would be some of the walkways. Just knock some holes in things, cause some damage, knock down the flag. Now, it'd be pretty tricky to get a catapult down here, but let's just knock out some supplies and support struts down here, just to crush things, continuing to crush their view of the only way out that's left. And, you know, destroying their morale is important. I'm sure those supplies under there were also important, but they are not anymore. Now, the sleeping quarters are easily attacked from up here, so of course I'm going to use some more large balls, and actually, first things first, let's knock out the supports up on the roof, because that is a gaping big vulnerability for the sleeping quarters. Just knocking a big ball of rock and debris down on top of them. Anyone that was in there is now trapped by that, so we are free to knock down these other supporting struts. Just like that. It's going a bit slow at the moment, I think. Is that a third one? Yep, there goes the third one. Knock down the last flag, and bury what's left of the sleeping area under a pile of rock. And we also don't want these to look too intact, so we're going to do some damage to these as well. Let's switch to some heavy balls and see what chunks we can take out of these supporting columns. Oh, there goes a lot of them. Yeah, I think this place is pretty much wrecked now. Now, the defenders have fallen back. They've gone up this pathway here towards the final defensive point on the far wall, but we don't want them to get down from there anytime soon, so taking out the stairs is a very good choice there. Just opening fire, destroying it. There shall be nothing left of them down here. And then we turn the catapult on the actual fortifications themselves, just to collapse them. And remove any potential threat that might have been once and for all. Yeah, just like that. Entire sections are falling down. The sanctuary has proven to be anything but. And with this, the last fortification is going to start collapsing as much as it can with that rock wall, but it's certainly not in any kind of state to be used to defend. Ooh, what are those stones doing there? Let's knock this one out, just to get that one to completely collapse. There we go. Now, why, may you ask, is the centerpiece of this entire cavern, the statue of our almighty king, still standing? And that's because I deliberately left it till last, because I want him to stand witness to the folly of his ways and the sheer hopelessness of opposing me, which he has granted his followers as I backed them into this corner and absolutely destroyed them. So now it is time to collapse the entire place and bring that statue down once and for all. And that is what I think of your precious king. Absolutely worthless and fit to be nothing but a pile of rubble. Now that's pretty much finished up the cavern itself. And as an invading force, let's just start collapsing and generally damaging and vandalising the passageway with the heaviest balls we've got. Because, let's be fair, it's no use to us anymore. We don't want it. We're just looting the place. We're a group of filthy barbarians. So, we're just going to cause as much damage as we can, maybe haul away some stone, and just leave it like that. Yeah, look at that. This entire place is starting to crack up. Now, the barbarians would not actually do the attacking down here, but I will, because they don't want to bury themselves here. But I'm just going to start causing some general structural collapse, just for entertainment purposes. And as you can see, it's all just collapsing down now. The stairway's buried. The entire place is starting to collapse thanks to these supermass cannonballs, which I actually do like using for these destruction sections, because they're so much better than the regular ones at 10 times the mass. Just look at that pile of rubble. And now, for the finale, let's actually start to collapse the entrance. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that, but I did. I brought down an arch on top of myself. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. I wanted to fire past it at the actual... yeah, there. Just start collapsing this entire place, bring down the statue of the king, and bring down the entire entrance to the sanctuary down on the heads of any survivors. Absolutely ensuring that they are trapped underground and have no hope of escape. Just generally causing as much damage as possible now. You're supposed to fall? Yes, you are fallen. Thank you. And with that, the king's protection is well and truly gone. Because there's no edifice left of his visage. There is no statues, there are no flags. There is no sanctuary anymore. It has been completely wrecked. That might be bad, actually. Yeah, there's nothing left. The entire place has just given way. And sanctuary has been well and truly wrecked. Glorious. Just look at all that collapsing. Sanctuary is no more. And you know what? Just for a nice little bonus, I'm going to collapse my little windmill just for you guys. Just as a benefit, because a barbarian horde would not leave that thing standing, would they? Of course they wouldn't. So let's just knock the base out from under it. Kaboom. Oh, there it goes. There goes the entire cog mechanism, just falling free. The windmill's disintegrated. The mechanism looks like it's holding together somehow. But the question is for how much longer. Nope. Part of it's collapsing now. Actually, that survived. The barbarians would find that, grab it, and take it away just to use it to improve their war machines. So, I don't know. Let's just blow it up. There we go. That's the lower cog falling free. That's the windmill destroyed, just for your amusement. But Sanctuary itself is a complete ruin. So yeah. This is Iron Mark III, and this has been 15 Minute Castle. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you some other time. Goodbye.